Year one ready set. Year one ready set was why Vaughn Hutchinson in a room by herself with her laptop, clinging to this DBA for dear life. I think it was a really interesting time, right? Because it was the end of, I think, of an era of optimism, right? Like let's flash back to 2015. It was before the 2016 election and all of the nastiness that that brought out. It was, the end of Obama's term. We were sure, a lot of people, I won't say we, not all of us, but a lot of people were certain we were going to have our first woman president. I think we were still kind of dusting ourselves off from the recession. We were really optimistic about the role that technology was going to play, and about the future that these companies were building, and about the changes in the workplace cultures that these companies were promoting. I mean, Google didn't just like export, like Google's product wasn't just search, right? Google's product was also Google's culture, right? And so I think that there was like so much optimism that was happening, and a real question of like, why do we even need DEI? Why do we need to know about our bias? Like, this is the myth of the meritocracy was alive and well and thriving. And I think, you know, we in the US, but globally, have been now today, fast forward to today, we've been in sort of a series of like wake up calls, right? I feel like we're perpetually waking up out of a dream into the reality of what life is like for a lot of people and what life was like for the people who came before us. And I think as we sort of have awakened to that reality that in a lot of ways has always been there, we've also awakened to the need for DEI, and first it was the sort of Me Too movement and the kind of polarizing impact that Trump had on the workplace. And those were kind of happening simultaneously. And the Me Too movement, we used to work really closely with tech. We still do, but just like predominantly our clients are tech companies hit tech really hard. Susan Fowler's um, expose around Uber and a lot of the stories that came out after that. So there was a lot of reflection for people who had been basking in that optimism before. And then, you know, after Me Too, we sort of got hit with COVID pretty quickly. And then it kind of became well, what does it mean to work remotely? How are we included? How are these groups being disproportionately impacted? How do we think about ableism in the workplace and access there? And then it became, 2020 was the rise of that Black Lives Matter, like uprising, and really thinking about what is institutional and systemic racism, what is anti-Blackness, how is this showing up in our everyday lives, and also in the workplace. And then there was that was a huge reckoning. And then I think today we're kind of, I don't want to say we're living in the aftermath because these problems haven't gone away, but I think we're not living in the aftermath of the problem, but I think we're living in the aftermath of the movement and really trying to figure out what does it look like to maintain momentum and to continue to want to create positive environments for people when, socially we have different economic conditions than we did before. We're politically a lot more fragmented and fragile than we were before. And, you know, we have now the rise of Gen Z in the workplace who have this whole different set of expectations. And so it is kind of like it's another inflection point in a series of inflection points that really push us to question the role that work plays in our lives and how we in the workplace impact those around us.